Welcome to our Q2 2026 release. We have a ton of exciting stuff to look at today. And I've got a wonderful set of guests with me who are going to help explain all of the deep dives that you need into all of the stuff that we've been creating. So today we are going to start by looking at the big picture at how we are shifting our offerings to meet you where you are in terms of AI, both on the developer side and on the user side. Then we're going to look at what we have done to improve your AI workflows, the new smart components and AI interface components that we've added to our libraries, updates to our classic non-AI related components. I promise we still care about those deeply, as well as updates to developer productivity, some new design and theme builder things, including our brand new Meridian theme, which is fantastic. And then a quick wrap up, as well as resources about how you can chat with us and what you can see is on our roadmap to come. We are kind of looking at AI embedded across the development lifecycle in 4 main places: generation, interaction, migration, and debugging. So you'll see that kind of reflected in what we share today. Generation means how you can generate code, right? Accessibility in our AI UI generator, new AI ready components. Interaction has more to do with how we're allowing AI tools to interact with the components that are created here. So how agents are able to interact using WebMCP and how they're able to extract, edit, and generate different kinds of files based on the components that we have. Migration helps you do all the difficult migration work with the assistance of AI, right? So we have things like our WinForms converter with AI and the Kendo UI for Angular upgrade assistant, which is part of the MCP server there. And finally, debugging. Fiddler MCP has new AI-powered debugging and agent skills with lots more to come there. All that said, let's start digging into the improvements to our AI workflows, starting with the Agentic UI Generator updates. The Agentic UI Generator is now available directly within the Telerik REPL for Blazor. So if you're a Blazor user, you can check that out right away. We also made some really fantastic updates to the Kendo and Telerik CLI tool. A thing to note, if you have been using our CLI tool, the command has changed. So you'll definitely want to go check the documentation for that. There's kind of been a swap around in some of the word orders. So if you try to run the old CLI commands, it's not going to work. But I promise the updates are well with it. We'll talk a little bit more about that further on. We've also made some really big improvements focusing on accessibility in the UI generator to make sure that what gets created by the AI UI generator is meeting all of the WCAG standards and the high expectation that you have for accessibility in our components. We've got some big updates in Blazor. A2UI, the agent to user interface open protocol that is introduced by Google, defines a standard way for AI agents to communicate their intent to generate user interfaces. We have started to fold that into our Blazor library. And in fact, we have a guest here to give us the deep dive on it. So let me welcome Maya.
We are still working on developing new components and getting feedback from you guys in the feedback portal and through our support tickets. But as you know, for the last year or so, we've been working on implementing AI features as well to be with the AI wave as well, and to meet your requirements as well, to deliver some nice, beautiful new UIs with AI. And with AI support. So here, the next step for us is to work on dynamic UI generation that is user-driven, personalized, and dynamically generated and AI-assisted for you. So a step back, the current state of UI and UX is more or less either static, beautiful UI that is one and the same for each users. And yes, you can interact with it, but it's not personalized for you only and for your requests. And the other one is super personalized, but it's conversation based, and it's more or less a chat. So the gap here is that agents think in text more or less, while the users work in interfaces, and we are much more used to working with UI, and we perceive the data more easily with through UI. So to fill that gap and to connect the dots, we are working right now on demo that is in preview state, and we are integrating three three different technologies. The first one is Microsoft Agent Framework that is responsible for the orchestration of the reasoning and execution. The workflow, it's a multi-agent framework. The other one is the AGUI, which is Agent User Interaction Protocol that handles the communication between the UI and between the AI and human users and the UI. But it holds the communication like streaming and state synchronization. And the layer on top of that is A2UI, that is agent to UI. That's communication layer between the agent and UI developed by Google. It defines the structure of the UX. It describes what components can be rendered on your interface based on your particular context and the prompts you're prompting. So how it goes, you have a prompt, you ask something in your software, in your program dashboard, whatever you have. The Microsoft Agent framework is responsible for the orchestrations underneath. The AGUI is the layer that communicates between the agents and the UI, and the A2UI is the layer that is responsible for the logic, which components can be rendered based on the context you provide. So what we are developing here is two additional layers. The first one is the catalog, that is more or less like a dictionary that says which component corresponds to which function. So if you're asking something about dates or time, you will get rendered a datetime input, and that logic is inside the renderer. That is the component, the layer that says, okay, now you have to render a datetime input. And of course, our components that are the other layer, but we already have those. So we are building on top of it, just to make all that structure available for you. And just to show you how does it work, just let me show you the demo. It's already available. As I mentioned, it's in preview state, but you can find it in our demos, AI components and features. And the first one that pops up is A2UI, AGUI, and Microsoft Agent Framework integration. Generally, the use cases are as many as you can think of. It all depends on your particular scenario, and you can implement it depending on your context. But here we chose one that is pretty familiar for everyone, that is booking a flight. So, but in this case, instead of having some fields that you need to fill each one and just be moved back and forth depending on the website, and each time it's different website and different user interface. Now you can interact with the software on your own, ask questions, and define it as you like based on your needs. So in the demo, the first thing you get is a prompt for a flight to book from London to New York. And once you prompt, your request will be processed. The A2UI will validate what components do you need, and they will be rendered for Blazor. So in this case, once the request is processed, you see, what are the steps towards it. You'll get some descriptions with the information that the AI underneath got that is corresponding to your request. You have supported charts, those are our Blazor charts, and a grid with information in this case that is appropriate, or like the airport fare details. Once you go to the next steps, to the next step in the demo, it will be to fill the booking flight information. But in this case, instead of filling each one of them, you have some nice input controls that will be, some of them will be pre-filled with the data you have that is corresponding to the context, the prompt you are asking, submitting, and the data that you already provided in the prompt will be pre-filled for you. So you have different components, to choose the date, to choose the relevant information. Some of them will be pre-filled with, yeah, I guess my name, mail, and phone number. So once you search, you get a confirmation. In this case, I haven't bought a flight, of course, but still just that's the final steps for it. And you can start all over. But yeah, as I mentioned, you can implement that that infrastructure in whichever is your scenario. And we would love to hear you back from you guys. If you have some input and feedback, it would be awesome. And just, yeah, go to, oops, that's my local host. Just go to demos, Telerik, Blazor UI, and you see it right on the main page here. So that's it. Thanks.
Awesome. That looks really fantastic. Thank you so much. And yeah, if you want a little bit more information as well as links to some of the content that she shared before, you can check out the blog here, hit that QR code, and that will take you to a page that gives you all of that overview as well as, and the chance to see the demos and play with it yourself. All right, next up, we have got some updates to WebMCP and Blazor, Angular, and React. WebMCP introduces a new paradigm for how AI agents are interacting with web applications. And as of this release, components across Kendo UI for Angular, Kendo React, and Telerik UI for Blazor can now expose their capabilities as structured callable tools that AI agents can use directly. There are links to all of the documentation there, but if you're not familiar with WebMCP yet, let's take a quick look at that. Next slide, please. Yep. So the big difference here is that if you're not using WebMCP, then your AI agent is kind of reliant on scraping the DOM to get the information that it needs. And that often looks like taking screenshots or looking at the text on the page and trying to kind of infer what's happening, which is less reliable than if you have access to WebMCP, which allows it to use those structured tool calls and talk to, quote unquote, the components directly. That's going to give you a more standard output and a more reliable source of information. And in fact, we've got a very cool demo video to show you on the next slide.
This is Operations Hub, a logistics console built on Kendo and Telerik UI. And one prompt is about to drive the whole thing. The agent filters the shipment tracker to delayed shipments heading to London, clears the map, drops a pin on each one, and zooms straight to them. Then it lifts tracking ID, delivery address, and value into the warehouse capacity sheet, and totals the value column automatically. One more prompt, and the grid and spreadsheet reset. One conversation, a full workflow. That's WebMCP.
We have got a quick poll for you. So we would like to know, how interested are you in enabling AI to both understand your app via WebMCP or to generate the UI for it via ATUI? We're currently seeing, like I said, a shockingly even split, about 30% each on very interested but needing a little more information, and curious but not sure how you'd use it yet. Only 9% of you said, nope, not relevant to me, which is really cool to see, actually. I hope you guys get the chance to give it a shot and let us know what you think. As Maya said, we're always super interested in hearing from you. We have lots of different ways for you to give us feedback, either via our Discord, or you can always email us or open a ticket with support. Give us all sorts of your thoughts on what you're interested in. And of course, there's a Q&A here. So you can pop into the Q&A right now and tell us what you think. But that being said, we have lots more to cover, so let's keep things moving. Next up, we have Fiddler MCP and agent skills. And for that, I'm going to bring on our guest, Teodora.
I am super excited to be here today and actually demo the Fiddler MCP for you. I just wanted to quickly get us on the same ground on what an MCP is. Maybe some of you guys know, maybe some of you are actively using it. I just want to make sure that we're talking about the same thing. So basically an MCP is a protocol that allows LLMs to connect to your standard software tooling and actually converse with it. So in the case with Fiddler, that means that you can prompt your coding agent, wherever that is. You can use Cloud, you can use Cursor, any agent of your choosing, and you can request access to the sessions that you have captured within Fiddler, and then analyze those sessions and surface any type of bugs, latency issues, anything that you usually have to deal with when you validate a feature, debug some kind of an issue that you have received an information from a client. And why would you need actually Fiddler in that case? Why wouldn't you just use the coding agent? The interesting thing is that coding agents, they use the code that they have written themselves, or somebody else has written, and they review it, or they use logs for a specific feature or application. But that means that they reason from information of what was supposed to be happening and not what actually happens. So Fiddler is like a source of truth in that case, because you get information about what actually was sent through the network, so what request was sent and what the server responded, and allows you to debug a lot more faster and actually get to the problem and to the solution with more ease. In terms of setting up the Fiddler MCP, we've made it quite easy for all of you guys. So we have created a couple of skills that you can use for that purpose. One of the skill is the Fiddler MCP setup that you can find on the skills SH directory. You just type Fiddler MCP setup and you're going to find it there. And you just give that to your coding agent, and I promise you know what to do. But also, we are soon releasing an UI inside Fiddler that is gonna allow you to do that setup with a single click. You just use the client, you just click on the client that you have been using, or you can actually set up multiple clients if that's your case, and it's gonna be done automatically for you, and then you can start prompting the MCP very quickly. And for the purpose of the demo, I have created a demo app that we're gonna look together right now. We're gonna be doing that through the instrumented browser that we have within Fiddler, so that we capture only the traffic that we're interested in. The application is a claims application. So this is a place where users submit their insurance claims, and they can then manage them and check the status. It's created from a couple of different elements. So we have the UIs that you guys now see. We also have a gateway API that sends the different requests the right way. And we have two different services. One is the claim service, which obviously manages the claims. And then the other is a compliance service, which helps with higher value claims where a more detailed checkup is needed on the person who's submitting the claim, or maybe the claim itself. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit on the in the application. We're going to do some things so that we can capture the traffic and then quickly analyze it through the Copilot CLI using the MCP. We're going to start with signing in. It's quick and practically very easy to do that. And I'm going to go right ahead and submit a new claim. I've pre-filled more of the information so that we have more of the time for debugging and less time typing in boring information. But what we currently do, this is the happy path. We're submitting a low-value claim for 5,000 just so that we see how the claim service is working. It seems that we had the successful submit, but what I saw here is that it took a little bit more time than expected for that claim to be submitted. So maybe we should check that when we're looking at the traffic. I'm going to also submit another claim. We're going to change the name just for the purposes of the demo, and I'm going to make this claim a little bit higher in value, just so that we know that we've also tested the compliance service and we know that it works as good as the claim service for a different amount of claims. We also got a success here. Again, I saw small latency in the submission here, so we can definitely check that up later. What we can do right now is also look those claims and see how they were submitted. So if all the information that we have added was sent to the server. Something that happened right now was I was logged out of the application, so I need to go ahead and start again to look up the claim. So this is, thankfully, we're capturing the traffic with Fiddler, so we can actually debug what was happening here, what was the issue. Looking up the low value claim, we can see that all of the text boxes are filled in, so the information was correctly taken by the server, written by the server. So we have all the information that is needed for that claim to be later used and used by the company. Let's see now the higher value claim. What I see here is that there's no risk score assigned. So maybe this gives me an idea of that the compliance service maybe is not working as expected. And now that we have moved through most of what the application can do, we can see in Fiddler all of the requests that we have made and the responses that we have gotten. So I'm going to go in my terminal and use the Copilot. I just need to sign in. I've already set my MCP just so that we can move more quickly. And I'm gonna ask him to list all the HTTP requests from localhost and see the magic happening. The interesting thing here is that the COI is going to use the MCP to call the Fiddler. And what we see here is that, as I mentioned, we have a couple of other skills aside from the Fiddler MCP setup. The second one is the Fiddler traffic debugging skills. It's practically a document that helps the coding agent use the tools that we have exposed through the MCP more easily, so that it knows how to get the information from that sessions, how to filter the traffic, how to actually do the whole inspection that we're currently looking for. And what we see right now is a quick overview of all the requests that we have made to localhost, what was their statuses, how much, what was their duration. We can now ask the coding agent to do an analysis on the requests and surface any issues that you see. And we're going to make, again, for the magic to happen, it pulls the data that it's needed. Usually it looks through the headers, the bodies, everything that we show in the inspectors inside Fiddler. And here's some of the possible issues that it might have found. One of the issues is, if you remember, we got logged out of the application quite quickly after we have logged in. So maybe there's an issue with the token expiration time, and it's something that we should inspect further and debug. Another thing is that we discussed that there's some kind of a latency when we submit a claim. This is something that we see constantly with both claims that we have submitted. So this is also something that we should check. Maybe there's something in the back that is actually working synchronously, waiting for a response before it sends the response to the client. Another thing that could be worth debugging is that we get two different responses from for the two different claims. So, and this might be the reason why we got a risk score for the lower value claim, but not a risk score for the higher value claim. So we need to check how the backend is handling and how specifically the compliance service is handling that specific high value request. And I guess basically that's it. We have a lot of tools within the Fiddler MCP that you can try. Just share your feedback about how it went and what were the use cases that you use it most for. Thank you.
Right, before you escape, we did have a question in the chat that I want to pass along to you. Yes. Someone asks, does Fiddler only capture web-based traffic, HTTP, HTTPS? Or can it also capture network shared directory connections, like SMB, or integration builder communication?
Yeah, for the purpose of the demo, I have built a web a web application, but you can capture traffic. We have a system proxy a mode that allows capturing traffic from within your machine. We have also a network traffic proxy that allows you to actually target specific processes that you want to capture traffic from. We have the terminal, the integrated terminal that's instrumented. So when you started, and if you run your application or if you run your specific feature that you have been building, this is the only traffic that the Fiddler is going to capture. We also allow capturing traffic from remote devices. We have a reverse proxy. This is why we're called Fiddler Everywhere, practically. So because we allow capturing traffic from almost anything.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Sorry to spring a question on you unannounced.
Thank you very much.
I want to talk a little bit about our new DPL agentic tools. So DPL is our document processing libraries. And the agentic tools will let users extract structured data, edit their content, convert formats, generate new Excel or PDF files, and perform analyses on Excel documents directly inside .NET apps with no separate services required. You can check out the documentation for that by following the QR code here. And we have one more guest that I'm excited to bring on for our WinForms converter.
I'm Hristo, and I'm part of the WPF and WinForms team, and it's my pleasure to be here and to speak about the very nice and interesting feature we just released that fits very well in any AI-assisted workflow. So I'm going to speak about the WinForms converter tool, and I'm going to create a quick demo with it. So what is this converter all about? This is a special tool that we have integrated inside the WinForms MCP server, which is actually the entry point for AI productivity tools for various Telerik products. And this converter tool will help you migrate any existing WinForms applications that you have that are built with the Microsoft controls to applications built with Telerik. I have here one very simple app that we're going to convert in just a bit. It's a very simple one, but imagine that if you had to do all this by hand, it would require quite some effort because there are many controls here. There are differences in the APIs sometimes between the Microsoft controls and the Telerik ones. And actually, it's a hard job even for simple projects. The application here, it has a form, which is the main window of the app. It has a menu here on the top, a tree view, a data grid here, a combo box that you can filter the data, and a tab control with 2 tabs. And also here we have a list. It actually mimics a scenario for creating orders. All right. So this is my setup here. I have Visual Studio open. I will be doing this on purpose inside Visual Studio because this is the development platform of choice for the WinForms people, and it really has quite good integration already with GitHub Copilot. So just to have an idea of the app, it's a .NET 10 application. I have the Telerik NuGet package already installed, just to save a little bit time during the conversion. We have tools that will assist you if you don't know which Telerik package or you don't have it pre-installed in the app. So this can be also handled by our tooling. What else? This is pretty much it. Here is the MCP server definition. It is that simple. You basically only need to copy and paste this and have the server started and running. Inside Visual Studio, what I usually do when I install MCP servers, I just make sure that here everything is enabled and is allowed. All the tools are allowed. So we'll see all the tools, basically all of them besides the WinForms Assistant tool are related to the migration. We'll see them all in action. I will start the conversion with selecting one of the predefined prompts here. Later, I'll explain the difference between when we run the migration in dry run mode or when we run it directly. I'll choose this one. You can see this is basically all that we need. We need to tell the LLM that we want to convert the whole app, and then it will start following the workflow that we have established inside the MCP. Another thing to consider is that here I'm using Haiku on purpose. You might say that I'm a little bit brave or running out of tokens. It's not very far from the truth, but I'm doing this on purpose because we'll see how good results we can also get with Haiku, which is a very cost-efficient and actually very less capable model compared to Sonnet and Opus. So let's run this, and now the LLM should pick up the prompt. It already knows that we have an MCP server that will assist with the migration. The first thing we'll do, we'll provide some information back with a migration plan. This is another tool that we need to call. It is related to inspecting the project and actually the project file, because when we do a conversion, we need to know the target framework. We need to know whether it's SDK style project or it's a classic one, whether we have Telerik references already or not. So this is the thing that we're gonna do right now. Everything is happening here locally on the same machine. The tooling is running inside the process of the MCP server. So now the LLM is likely going to create a plan according to the flow that we have provided just before, and it will start converting the files. It will first call the Telerik convert file tool, and this is something that I want to explain a little bit in more details. The convert file tool basically will scan the source file that the LLM is passing to the tool, and it will actually convert all the types from the standard Microsoft types to their Telerik alternatives. We will convert any property definitions, assignments, and parts of the API that has alternatives in Telerik. And we are going to do this with the help of Roslyn. So everything that we're going to do now is totally deterministic. Our tooling will work with the source file and it will convert it, and this will happen very, very quickly. And it will not cost anything for the model in terms of resources and time. So I'm going to allow this. And another thing that you saw here, we changed all the types related to Telerik. And another thing that is the plan is going to be updated. That's also important, is that we do, when you have a whole project and you want to convert it, we do this incrementally. Like when you have multiple forms, not just one, but maybe tens or hundreds, we'll do it form by form, window by window. And this way you will be able to stop the process at some point and start it some other time. And the flow that we are establishing is such that when we convert a particular form and window, we try to fix all the errors later, so that even if you convert the whole project, parts of it only, it will still be should be running fine. only those parts that are converted. Now we're converting the other file. In WinForms, if you're familiar, you will know that every UI control, like user control or a window, like a form, they have designer files and corresponding source files. So we're converting these pairs. And now we'll try to build, and it will pick any errors that we have left. You might have probably seen that we have some backup files here generated. These are generated when we run the tool in direct mode. And they're just created only for as backup, as a precaution. But if we run the tool with the dry run flag, we will not create backup files, but instead we will do all the conversions in memory inside the tooling, and we're going to provide the LLM with information about the changes. So the LLM will be responsible for applying these changes. Okay, so here Visual Studio is trying to compile. Might take some time now. And the way that we should continue is such that we'll try to build the project, and when we get errors like these, okay, build failed, which is expected. Not all the APIs has alternative related to Telerik, so right now maybe the LLM will try and code the assistant tool. We have an assistant tool that is providing additional context related to Telerik usage and APIs that the LLM could use, or it may try and fix all these errors based on their training data that they already have. So that's why I said that this tool fits very well in AI-assisted workflow, because it actually takes the best parts of both worlds. We have the deterministic tooling that will run through all the source files. It will use Roslyn to do all the conversions. And then we'll have the AI layer on top that will work with the converted files and will try and fix them. So we might have some minor errors at the moment, and ultimately they should be resolved as well. Here you see some of the suggestions that the LLM is trying to suggest and apply. Yeah, maybe we have one more or two.
You want? We've actually got a poll question that we were going to ask next. We can go ahead and do that now and let this run in the background if that'd be helpful. Or would you prefer to hang here?
It will finish in maybe just a minute or two. Cool. I think. According to the plan and according to the workflow, after we convert all the source files, then we want to build the project. It builds successfully, which is great. And now we want to apply a modern theme at the end. We'll do it in just right now. The LLM should call the get theme setup tool, and then we should be all set and have the application converted. We will allow it. Inside our tooling, we're providing information how we can set up the Fluent theme, which is a modern one. And This way, you will have a modern looks of your app after you convert it.
It's pretty amazing that it can run all of that on Haiku, which is a pretty lightweight model.
Yeah. Let's see the result now, but
That's true. That's true. Maybe I should wait to see how it turns out before I hype it up too much.
all right, build is successful. I can start it while DLM is trying to create the summary. Okay. It needs some time to load. Okay, yeah, this is it. Here is the application. It's converted. It has the Telerik run grid view. Basically, all the controls here are Telerik ones. This is the main form, the window. This is the menu, the Telerik tree view here. This should be still working. Yeah, no runtime errors. And this is a list view here added to the orders. So yeah, it compiled successfully, and yeah, this is the whole flow here. Indeed, with a very small app, but basically the same steps can be replicated with on a very large scale as well. So this is the summary. Yeah, thanks. If you have any questions, you can ask in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer them.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Now, as promised, we do have a poll for you guys about your migration needs. So, which additional framework migration scenarios would you be most interested in seeing supported? ASP.NET Core over to Telerik is looking like the lead here, with a close second place to ASP.NET Ajax over to Telerik UI for Blazor, with a handful of y'all in the other categories as well. We have a new Agentic .NET SDK. Our .NET developers now have a straightforward way to integrate retrieval augmented generation workflows into their applications, powered by our own Progress Agentic RAG. This SDK provides a stable foundation for creating context-aware AI solutions, and that is available for installation right now. Other big update that we have for our AI workflows category is our new AI chat in documentation. We can go, perfect. So all of our Telerik and Kendo UI documentation now includes a built-in AI chat. That means you can ask it questions about really any part of implementing our libraries or any of the new AI tooling, and you can get contextual answers directly within the documentation page. This makes it much, much easier to find the relevant APIs and to navigate through your documentation without breaking focus. And it is available across all of our libraries, Telerik and Kendo UI, as well as reporting and document processing. So if you haven't had a chance, just go to any of the documentation pages, and there in the search bar, there's now an Ask with AI option. If you click that, you will see this very friendly little Kendoka and a chat box here where you can ask any question that your heart desires. Moving on, we now have some exciting new AI interface and smart components available. So while the previous section was about how we are helping you AI empower your own workflow, this is about the new components that we have in the applications that you're building so that you can empower your users. The first one is our new AI Smart Paste. This allows you to convert unstructured text into structured inputs by automatically mapping the content from emails, documents, or messages to the right field without any extra effort on your users' parts. This, I think, is just one of the most practical and handy things. So this is available across all of our component libraries: Angular, React, Vue, jQuery, Blazor, ASP.NET, and .NET MAUI. So regardless of what you are building, you can now include this AI Smart Paste. We also have a new prompt box component. So if you are creating these kinds of AI-enabled interfaces for your users, the prompt box component allows a dedicated space where your users can craft prompts, send messages, and engage naturally with AI language models. Of course, we have kind of as well more complete chat components, but if you're kind of building something that needs to be a little bit more custom, we've also broken out all of these pieces for you, giving you control over what you build and how you build it. Similarly, there is a new .NET MAUI prompt input component, which is, again, going to be very similar, right? The ability for you to interact with AI chatbots, in-app assistants, and more, however you would like. We also have some great updates to our classic components, as we are now calling them. I promise we have not forgotten about our non-AI components. So if you are still building things in and around, these are here for you. We have a new segmented control component available for Angular, React, jQuery, Vue, Blazor, and ASP.NET, which allows your users to choose between a small set of mutually exclusive options. This is really great for kind of creating tabbed interfaces or different situations where you need to show kind of either or comparison views. There's also a new diagram component over in Kendo React, allowing you to build interactive visualizations to represent relationships between data. This is a pretty complex one, honestly, in terms of data viz, letting you create different nodes and shapes and links between them. This was great for workflows, process maps, organization structures, other sorts of data-driven visuals that you may need. In Blazor, we've also added a drop-down tree component. You've probably already seen the tree view. It is now available kind of nested within the drop-down control. So it's kind of a good way to condense, very space efficient, so that you can expand and then drill down as deep as you need to find whatever's available. Blazor also got the task board. You may have seen this one before in our React and Angular libraries, and now Blazor gets it as well. It's a Kanban style kind of, to do in process done, although of course you can customize all of those fields. It also includes things like search functionality, the ability to add new columns, and all sorts of other customizations in terms of adding images or descriptions or titles to the cards, allowing you to create whatever kind of status management tool that you require. Over in .NET MAUI, there's also a new editor component, which is a richer, more flexible text input experience that's designed for scenarios that go beyond just your kind of basic text entry. So this just gives you a little bit more room, multi-line with scrolling, allowing your users to draft longer text and make more edits within. .NET MAUI also got a drop-down button, which is a kind of configurable button surface, allowing you to add custom content there. Good for exposing commands, options, contextual UI, all sorts of deep dive menu kind of things without needing to navigate away from the current view. And now also as well on WPF and WinForms, we got the speech to text button. This is of course crucial as more and more things are moving towards these kind of AI inputs. The ability to chat with your agents is fantastic, although of course you can use it for other things as well. This was available already in all of our Telerik and Kendo UI web and mobile libraries, but now we have it to WPF and WinForms. Convert your speech with a single click, make it easy to add voice input to forms, search bars, chat interfaces, and all kinds of interactive scenarios. This is a big accessibility win, so I'm excited to see this one here. Moving right along to our developer productivity section. I teased this one a little bit earlier, but we got a big upgrade to the Telerik and Kendo CLI tools. Again, if you did not catch it earlier, you're going to want to, even if you've used our CLI tools before, you're going to want to go reinstall because this is a totally new experience. It includes all sorts of new commands, as well as a nifty little interface that'll show up there in your terminal that you can kind of walk through. And I got to say, having used this one, the biggest win is setting up licensing. It makes licensing a true breeze. And that's been, we'll admit, can be a little bit of a fight to get everything configured just right. But now it is literally as simple as running a command and letting it handle it for you. It also helps you set up the MCP servers and all of that. It I mean, we're talking minutes. It has never, ever been easier to start a new project with Kendo and Telerik. If you can't tell, I'm actually genuinely very excited about that one. Okay, similarly, we now have public NuGet availability for Telerik UI for Blazor, Telerik UI for .NET MAUI, and Telerik DPL. So you're able to get these now through NuGet. I've added the commands there if you're interested. Again, we're just really focused on streamlining and making it easier than ever before to get up and running. There's also a new Telerik reporting entity framework core data source. The entity core data source wizard, say that 5 times fast, in the standalone report designer for .NET streamlines data binding by guiding you through the creation and configuration of data sources powered by Entity Framework Core. Check out the docs there for all of the deep dive information that you need that I do not have time to get into in this webinar. And finally, there's new Markdown format provider in Telerik DPL, which allows you to enable seamless import and export of the RideFlow document content to and from Markdown, making it super easy to integrate with modern documentation workflows. Again, check the QR code there to see the documentation. Now, we got some very cool, genuinely, this is maybe the second place most exciting thing for me. If number 1 goes to the CLI tools, number 2 absolutely goes to our new Meridian theme and the icons that come with it, because there is a brand new theme available for your Kendo and Telerik UI components, and it is genuinely gorgeous. It looks super modern, it's very clean, it's very beautiful. It is already integrated, of course, into ThemeBuilder for you to try out. And if you are looking for a great, easy visual refresh to your application, this is the way to do it. Our design team has truly outdone themselves on this one. It is, yeah, I mean, it's truly beautiful. So give it a shot, play with it in ThemeBuilder, add it to your app. It's, of course, very easy to swap between all of the themes. You can do that as well with some of the getting started guides, right? I mean, get started and it'll talk you through whether you want the default theme, the new Meridian theme, and of course, we have our material and Fluent stuff available as well. But check this one out. As a designer, this one made my day. And again, in ThemeBuilder, we got a lovely quality of life upgrade, genuinely, because you can now streamline theme customization with automatic variable values. This means that if you're making changes to core design tokens, like color and spacing, it's going to kind of automatically propagate those across the related styles and components. So if you've been in ThemeBuilder, you know there are a lot of variables there. And a lot of them are kind of tints and tones versions of different main colors that apply across all the components. You used to have to change all of them individually. Now you can change the main one and it will do the kind of math and computing on those tints and tones on its own. It is, yeah, quality of life, again, maybe an undersell there, because that speeds things up fantastically. And it is a lovely update to an already fantastic application. I raced through all of that and I think I actually made it. I was really worried about not making it in time because we just had so much in this release to cover. But if there's anything that you have more questions on, or you just want to hang out with us and chat, honestly, our Discord has become the place to be. I gotta tell you, we have well over 800 members already, all developers and designers from across various frameworks and practices. And it is a great place to just share what you're working on or chat, or if you're like me and you work remotely, just a little bit of social interaction throughout the day so that you're not just talking to yourself. It's a super friendly place. And if you have not checked it out yet, we would highly, highly encourage you to do so. It's also kind of our hub space for different events. So if you're at a conference that we're at, or we're hosting a hackathon, or you just want to chat, sometimes we do live streams. All of those happen within our Discord as well. And finally, if there is anything that you wanted to know more about that I did not have time to walk you through during this webinar today, I would highly, highly encourage you to go check out our release blog. That is going to take you through every single thing that came out. It's going to link to examples in the documentation. It's going to link to demos. It's going to give you all of the information that you need, as well as links to things like the roadmaps for each of our libraries and everything that we're working on so that you can see what's coming up next. You can share with us what you are interested in seeing. And genuinely, I know I say it in every webinar, we would love to know what you would like from us. We are most interested in making the tools that make your life easier. So if you have an opinion about something you saw today or something you wish existed, please come tell us. You can find the links to all of that here in our blogs.